there, I'm Julie Broad with Revenue.com and another fantastic real estate investing video tip for you. Today I want to give you 5-6 questions that you should very strongly consider asking a potential tenant on the phone before you ever get off your comfy couch and go show them your property. I won't go into all of the strategy behind it, but I will tell you that speaking to someone on the phone before you show them the property is pretty much going to change your world if you're one of those people who's been emailing. The exception is if you're dealing with student rentals or young people. They tend to text and email and you'll have a hard time getting them to phone. But I've found that if you speak to them on the phone, you're 90% likely to have them show up. If you exchange emails, I'm actually at about a 50-50 rate, and sometimes even lower, of whether they'll actually show up, okay? So this is one big thing. If you're experiencing no-shows, this is key. But I also find that I don't want to waste my time on somebody that this is absolutely not a fit for, and getting them on the phone and asking them a few questions before I set up an appointment is huge step towards ensuring I get the right people in my rentals. And the right people are people who are going to take care of my home, pay their rent, and ideally for us, stay longer than a year. Somebody who's going to stay 2 or 3 years is optimal in my mind. Okay, so the questions. The first question I always ask, why are you moving? And why are you moving tells me so much about somebody. I find out a lot of times their work, their relationship situation, and and one of the things I'm looking for is if they complain about their current landlord. Because, well, there are bad landlords out there. I'm looking for somebody who doesn't blame other people for all their problems in their world, because that doesn't mean they're someone who takes responsibility. I want somebody who's responsible and is going to take care of my property, okay? Another question, who will be living in the property, right? If they have 20 people who are going to move in, I want to know, okay? So who will be living in the property? Very, very important question. How long do you think you'll stay? You can also say, is a 1-year lease good for you? But I like to say, how long will you stay? Because is a 1-year lease good for you? Kind of tells them the answer you're looking for. And I prefer not to give them the answer to the question, because sometimes tenants will just tell you what you want to hear. So I prefer to ask more of an open question and see what they say. Do you have pets? I just like to know. And frankly, I've had some people who collect tarantulas and another one that had several snakes. Not really my cup of tea, right? I'm really not that keen on having a missing snake in one of my properties, but you know, to each his own. I just want to be aware of whether they have pets or not. Where do you work? If you didn't find out in question 1, if they're not moving to town or moving closer to their work, asking where they work is key. Also tells you if they're working, because you know, I don't like to say, do you work, unless it's a student. So where do you work? And finally, when are you looking to move? We've made this mistake so many times, assuming that somebody's looking for the next first of the month, when sometimes they're looking for 45 days or 60 days later. And if your property's vacant, you might be looking for somebody who's ready to move very soon. So when are you looking to move? A very important question. With all of this information, you start to get a picture of the person, and you can decide if you want to show it to them on their own or have them piggyback on other people's showings. Won't get into all the strategy beyond that. Also, I'll mention, we have a video on tenant screening where we talk about our red light, yellow light, green light process of how we decide whether we would actually choose someone, and the answers to some of these questions are part of that process. So I hope this helps you. Make sure you take notes so that you remember who each person is when they show up for your showing, so that you have all this information in front of you and can ask them even more questions to get to know them and pick the absolute best tenant who's going to take care of your house and stay a long time. If you have a question, I would love to answer it for you. Sometimes I don't know what the heck to talk about on these videos, and your questions help me. So send them on over, post them in YouTube. Make sure you're signed up for our newsletter, because I keep some of the best stuff just for our newsletter subscribers. So you can grab that at revenue.com, revenue.com, and reply to any of our newsletters to ask me your question, and I just might shoot a video for you. Oh, and if you like this one and want more, thumbs up, makes me smile. See you next time.